Hey, Hope City Youth, so stoked you guys are going to join us for HC30. Stay tuned to the end of the video. There might be an Easter egg. There might not be. We'll see. So today I want to ask you guys a question. Now it's kind of a loaded one and we'll give some time to answer it, but I want to know what you think about God allowing bad things to happen. Go ahead, take a second to think about it. Now, I'm not sure about you, but when I think about this question, I often think about the story of Job. For those of you who don't know, the story of Job is pretty sad. It's pretty profound, and we're going to look at it a little bit today. The Bible split up into two main parts, the Old Testament and the New Testament, and each part has an old ancient language it was written in. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew, and the New Testament was written in Greek. So we're going to refer back to that a little bit as we go and explore the story of Job. So starting off, the story of Job begins with this conversation had in heaven. God is sitting on his throne, he's having this council, and there's these figures called the sons of angels that are with God in this meeting. And one of them is referred to as the Satan. Now in Hebrew, the Satan simply means as the opposer. Not so much as Satan directly, it's just the one who opposes. Now this person is kind of a position that is elevated and is purposely picked out of the crowd to oppose an idea. What God is doing in this meeting is that he's highlighting Job, that Job has been so righteous, so honorable, that he has been the best of his servants on earth so far. The Satan, however, opposes this idea and says, God, he's only true and just because you've blessed him. That's only the reason why. So this idea of an opposer is actually very common in ancient civilizations. Kings would have opposers when they wanted to do a construction project or wanted to discuss a new idea. Someone would be elected out of the crowd to oppose the king's ideas to make them stronger. For example, even generals, modern day and in ancient times, would have opposers. They would have these people who would poke holes in the ideas that the generals would have. Generals would have war games on tabletops, and the opposer would take the role of the enemy and try to see where the plan would fail. And the idea is you make your plan stronger when someone tries to attack it or even question it. So once again, this goes back to Job. Job is someone who has been so honorable thus far that he's served God. And the opposer, the Satan, says he's just doing it because you give him gifts. That's the only reason why he follows you. So the opposer suggests that maybe Job needs to be tested a little bit. So God agrees to this testing, and Job loses everything. It's extremely devastating. His family's gone, his wealth is gone, and it's actually a really, really sad story. The remarkable thing is that he's done nothing wrong, and yet he still praises God. In the story, we find that Job praises God throughout the chapters, and his friends that come to console him, they instead ridicule him. They're assuming that good people always get good things. So if that's the rule, then Job must have done something awful to have received such an awful punishment. They said that evil can only exist because evil happened. They are poking fun at him. They're demeaning. But we know from the beginning of the story, God highlights how noble of a character Job is, that his suffering wasn't because he did something wrong, but it's because he's being tested. Now, Job's life, as tragic as it is honestly a life lesson for us. And this lesson can be asked for you. When hard times come, how will you respond? Maybe you're experiencing hard times now, and if you are, I am so sorry. It's so heavy and draining and difficult to navigate those situations. I don't envy you, but what I can say is that God has a purpose through this, and that you could connect through God through these bad situations. So this emotional question of why God lets bad things happen, it's really hard to answer, but I think we can explore one. Bad things happen and suffering happens so God can show us that he cares, that God can show us that he's there, and that God can show us that he's still good. Now, let's think of two examples to kind of apply this. Teammates on a sports team. Oftentimes, some will be on defense, some will be on offense, hockey, football, and they will compete against one another. When the offense can't score and they try to and the defense stops them, they don't say, hey, why aren't you letting me score? Why aren't you letting me win? No, that's not how it works. The teams oppose one another to actually strengthen each other. They don't complain when they don't win. They instead compliment when they are challenged. We need these hard times in a way to learn how to deal with hard times going forward. We need our teammates to challenge us so we are better prepared for the other challenges ahead. The second story I want to highlight is the story of Lazarus. Now, most of us have heard this story because Lazarus is kind of a really cool miracle, and it's also known for having the shortest Bible verse. We're going to read from John chapter 11. It says, Jesus told them plainly, Lazarus is dead. And for your sake, I'm glad I was not there, so that you may believe. On his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had been already dead in the tomb for 4 days. Lord, Martha and said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? When Mary reached the place where Jesus saw him, she fell to her feet and cried, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have not died. And when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews had come along with her weeping as well, he was deeply moved in his spirit and troubled. Where have you laid him? He asked. Come and see, Lord, they replied. And Jesus wept. He cares so much about our pain that he weeps with us. This moment is so profound and it deserves its own verse. Jesus wept. He cares about your struggles, the pain, your loss. He is there and intimate with us, weeping with us, being with us. This isn't just another moment. This is God with us. Now Jesus, once more deeply moved, came to the tomb, and it was a cave, and with the stone laid across the entrance, he said, take away the stone. So they took away the stone, and Jesus looked up and said, Father, I thank you that you've heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you have sent me. When he had said this, Jesus called out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. And the dead man came out. We can learn through the story of Job that suffering isn't always deserved. Oftentimes, it's an opportunity for us to learn how to lean on God in the hard times. That God may be trying to prepare us for something later on. And we learn through the story of Lazarus that Jesus is present in that suffering, that he doesn't leave us by ourselves, that he weeps with us, that he mourns with us, that he's present. Some of us ask how God is able to do good if there's bad, and he tells us throughout the Bible that he is good, that he does good things, that he cares for the widows and the orphans, that he cares for the poor, the lame, the lepers, that he cares for those who are outcasted. He stands up for women. He stands up for children. He does the things that are good. Oftentimes we just don't see it. Only a good God would do such good things. God isn't evil, and he's not doing this just to play with our emotions. It's oftentimes to get us closer to him so that we can weep alongside him and have a relationship with him. So, in these tough times, I challenge you to train yourself to begin to lean on him. In the story of Job, eventually things come around and he's blessed tenfold. The story of Lazarus, well, he comes back to life, and Jesus was alongside them. So pay attention to this pain. God is most likely trying to prepare you for something. And I know it's hard. I know it's difficult, and I honestly empathize with you. But these moments can be molding moments for us where we begin to rely on God. So we need the hard times to learn how to deal with hard times, and through that, God can show his goodness and that he's there with us.